So Brian is about the opposite of Ed, no slides. So I threw a few slides together for him. I started off my keynote with an apology. I will start off Brian's keynote with a compliment. The reason he has nothing prepared is in our 35th year in business, his 31st as a teammate of Aquascape, it is going to be by far the biggest, most successful year this company's ever had for the local market construction. So Brian runs flat out. He can't think about next week when all he's doing is doing bids for people, continuous design consultations, trying to keep the guys on task because we have a young team. We're going to talk about that. The same challenges that you guys have with your teams, we have with ours. People are people. But this is my favorite person in the company to talk to. I talk 3 or 4 times a week to him. I do more listening than talking. He's my pulse. What Brian does is he is you guys. Ed's a little bit, extreme with his things. I love talking to Ed too, but it's hard to relate to what Ed does with it's so advanced. But Brian's doing backyard makeovers and does an amazing job at that. So it's not, he doesn't need to prepare anything because he's actually doing it. The man sat at more kitchen tables and designed more water features than any human being that's ever walked planet Earth. So that's who you're about to hear to. So how about a hand for Brian? Let's go! 2 minutes before, when I pulled him up here from talking to people, I go, do you have any ideas of what you want to talk about? He's like, no. And all I know is that the next hour and a half is going to fly by because we're just going to be talking shop. So let's start off with the first picture. I guess I got it up here. I can do that. So there's the current team that he has in the local market. And that is both the construction and the maintenance teams. So this is the size of Aquascape in terms of the number of people. I want to actually go through the people a little bit right here so that you can have a perspective of the guys that he's dealing with. Here's how long the team has been around. So total there is 49 years, and Brian represents 31 of those 49 years. Jack is in his 7th season with us, but he's still a young kid. And after Jack, it's Chris at 4 years. And this is called, you better have a 20 product and 20 step system to reload. And that's exactly what this guy manages to do. And I'm going to also share a little bit of the numbers so that you guys have a perspective on what these guys are generating. And then we'll let Brian talk about this. So in 23, we did just under $1 million in sales. 24, even just a little bit less. More projects, but obviously smaller projects to do that. 25, 1.5, so that's a pretty good leap. Now, this is 26. And you're going to see why Brian did not prepare a presentation.
So when I was sitting with Colleen and we're going over the numbers, we're looking at 23 and I'm embarrassed, right? I'm like, Jesus, I always thought we just did $1 million. And then we're looking at 24 and we did less and more jobs. And 24, I don't know if you remember this or not, Greg, but in 23, we had lost a lot of employees. And Greg and I would talk about how the world's changing and we're trying to find good people, it just can't happen, and everybody wants work-life balance, like blah, 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 and,
But there's a yin and yang. Just listen to this, yeah.
So 40 hours a week is what everybody wanted to work. They wanted a Friday off every month. And they wanted another Friday, and they called it like a reset Friday, where we all just met in the office and went over successes and failures of the month. So 2 Fridays a month, and finishing at 3:30 rather than 5:30. When you start doing the math, and you finish 2 hours earlier every single day, and you have a 5-guy crew, how many hours is that a day? How many is that a week? That's a whole day, a week in labor you're losing just by not doing those 2 hours. I added that up with the Fridays we were taking off all the time, and there was 37 days we didn't work.
And remember, we're a seasonal business in Chicago.
And our goal, our easy, simple goal, is 10 grand a day. If I added 370,000 to that, and we had the jobs, we had all the jobs, we just pushed them into next year. And at the end of the year, this was the most interesting thing. So we sit down with everybody and a team, we're sharing the numbers, and I was like, so is everybody feeling warm and fuzzy? You got your Fridays off, you got your shorter work weeks, and what do you think they said? And why did they say no? They didn't get a bonus.
Shocking, cause and effect.
They wanted a bonus on a year that we hardly made any money. But they got their work-life balance. What did they change next year? Let's go to work. And then what happened? We did 1.5 million, right? It was just, but we needed to, it was a huge sacrifice for us to do that. We also had things like...
well, we lost Chris Hansen, our 10-year-long foreman that was completely trained, and replaced him with Jack, who was a bit green and told us, I don't want to lead. I don't want to be the number one guy, so that put more on Brian's plate.
It was a Pondemonium year. Pondemonium, we pulled off for a couple weeks to do things in our aqua gardens, prep the build out front. We built Laura's Dream Stream.
Yep.
So a lot of travel, and all of a sudden those days, and every day to me, like I look at it literally every day. When it rains, how are we going to get to 2.5 million if it rains today? Because there's not, for us, we have a very, very distinct start and stop date. For us, it's April 1st is when everybody starts. It's too cold in March. So April 1st is our start, and we usually go to Thanksgiving. If there's a warm day past Thanksgiving, thank God, because we can keep going. Now, somebody told me there's a super El Nino or something coming, and maybe we'll have some warm days in December, like unseasonably warm. And I'm like, no, we've investigated it, because maybe we could do 3 million this year, which would be awesome.
However, Brian does enjoy the winters and says, I would hate to build ponds in year-round weather.
So I was just talking with these two guys up front here, and our season goes like this. April 1st, if you live in the Midwest or you live any place that has some seasons, April 1st, our guys are excited. Mm-hmm. Let's go, right? Like, just get me out of the sandbox. I don't want to be in the warehouse anymore. We want to go outside. And even though they're doing cleanouts, they're still excited to go. After about 400 cleanouts, they're not excited anymore. But what happens is the cleanouts finish up and then construction starts. So they're crazy excited about construction. It's funny, like as we all sit with our shovels and we get in a circle and push the first shovel in the ground to start building a pond, the grin on everybody's face. Like, oh, I remember this feeling. This feels really good, you know? And so everybody's really excited come June to start construction building. That lasts till about August. In August, the heat, the 100-degree temperatures, the 100% humidity really wears everybody down. Everybody's done. Then we throw Pondemonium on it, and it's awesome to see you guys. We get a little fired up after you guys all leave, but we're a little more exhausted too. And then September hits, and the temperature outside changes, and we're like, let's go. And that's when we need to be like, let's go. It's our last big push of the year. And so we historically always build our best projects in September. That lasts till about mid-October, late October, and then we're like, please fucking snow. Like, we just need to end. And for us, having the start, the stop, and an end allows us to then rejuvenate ourselves, get excited for the next year. It would be very difficult for me if I lived in Florida where I could work 365 days out of the year.
Yeah, the sense of urgency isn't there as much.
It's not as much. Like, there's always the attitude of tomorrow. We don't have tomorrow, so we work really, really hard in a small window, and then but we need to let our bodies just kind of recoup and our brains recoup. And so, but Greg has, like, I'm busier in the winter, I think.
You're busy with travel jobs, which we're going to get to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Okay.
No, that's all I want to say on that.
Yep. All right, so construction, and now we're going to go into maintenance. There's the maintenance team. You can see Josh is the senior guy there for 25 years, incredibly valuable teammate. And we had to learn that he was valuable because Josh kept telling us, I don't want to do anything but clean ponds and fix leaks. I don't want to manage people. I don't want to do this. Are these people valuable? They're like, this is what I want to do. Well, 25 years later, there's not a better leak whisperer on the planet than Josh is, and that's what he wants to do. And every time, 2 or 3 times that we've tried to get him to lead other people, he's like, I don't want to do this. And guess what? We're okay with that. Just took us 2 or 3 times, but at 25 years, so we've got a really good maintenance team in there. But look at the young Nate. How many months in there, you know? And you know, Haley is not out cleaning. She's dealing with homeowners, and it is a hectic job. It is overwhelming every spring for Haley to handle this. And Rafi, all the way on the left, they're very excited about that. The 5-year guy, or you're right, I guess on there. He just came back a month ago, right?
I ran into Rafi at our retail store. When I come into the office, I usually try to put my blinders on so I don't have to talk to anybody because I got to go. And I just had to drop something off and then get back in the truck and go. And I hear Rafi yell out, Brian. And I was like, oh, shit. And then I saw it was Rafi, and I ran over to see Rafi, and he was there with his whole family, his kids, his wife, and they were looking at stuff. And his wife goes, just tell him. I'm like, just tell me what? He's like, just tell him. And Rafi's like, I got to say something. This is kind of weird, but Brian, my favorite job I've ever had, and he hadn't been with us for 7 years or something.
Oh, 11, longer than
11 years.
Yeah.
He left about 11 years ago. He's like, my favorite job of all time was working at Aquascape. I said, well, why don't you come back and work at your favorite job? He's like, that's a possibility? I was like, I don't remember firing you. Like, I think you just left, right? He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yes, I'm absolutely serious. It'd be great if you, like, hey, listen, I really got to go, but why don't you talk it over with your family? Because he's got about an hour and 35-minute, maybe an hour, 40-minute drive to work every single day. I said, I can't change that, and I can't change the start time. You're going to start at 6:30 like everybody else, so why don't you talk it over with your family? But if it's your favorite thing you've ever done and you still think about it after 11 years, maybe it's something you want to do again. He said, would I work in construction? I'm like, hell no. I'd put you in maintenance.
Because
maintenance should surpass construction. It did the last few years.
Which I'm about to get to, yeah.
But Rafi had been doing sales for the last 11 years. He sold cell phones, he sold cars, he sold shoes, he sold cable TV, he sold everything. Like, he was in sales. Why do I want a sales guy in maintenance? Upsells, upsells, upsells. And the guy loves it. Rafi actually put a post on his personal page.
This is like, there is a God.
After only being with us for 3 weeks, put a post on his personal page trying to market decorative water features. Anybody want, because he gets a commission. He's a freaking go-getter. And so he will definitely help the maintenance jump above the 2 million mark in a short amount of time.
Let's go through that.
And it was awesome. I hadn't seen Rafi. He'd been working for us for about a month, and we hired him over the phone. I was gone when he called and hired him over. I didn't see him for a month, and you were there, and he's like, Brian, come here. And he just gave me a big hug because he loves his job.
Yeah. Good. So here's the numbers, Brian, 23, 24, 25, and 26 for the maintenance department.
So they're growing, and it's easy to see why they're growing because every year we build more water features, right? The maintenance number will never ever go down. It's always going to go up and up and up as long as we build more water features. And if we build larger water features, they're bigger maintenance packages, they're bigger cleanouts, they're just more profitable. And we've got a really good team, and so I don't want to just acknowledge Rafi, but Mikey, who's got the best energy ever, is fantastic. Jake, who's learning, he's only been with us 2 years, is just doing a fantastic job. You got Ron and Alan, who have been with us just for a few months, but both have great energy. Alan likes to drive really fast, and I have to talk to him about slowing down. But and of course, Josh is the leak whisperer. So we have a crazy team. And a big hand to Haley and Mark. How many of you guys do maintenance coordination?
In your businesses.
You are the lost baggage claim people, right? Especially during cleanout season, nobody's calling to say, oh my gosh, I love you and the way you're scheduling everything. Right? Everybody wants their pond cleaned April 17th. They don't want it cleaned too early in April. They don't want it cleaned too late in April. They always want it cleaned in the middle of April, and we can't do that because we have so many. So they're always complaining and like, when are we going to come? When are we going to come? It's a very, very difficult job.
And so when you're looking at these things and if you have questions, send them over on the app, and then we will answer about maintenance packages or anything else. And just so that we're completing, even though this is not really your expertise, but you are technically in charge of it, the retail store.
I don't like retail. No, I love our retail store.
You love our retail store, but you don't like retail. That's an honest statement. Yep.
I will tell you this. Corrine and I didn't always see eye to eye.
Corrine's in the middle.
In the middle. And then I got a puppy, and Corrine acted like that was her dog. She took care of that dog, and Jeff loved the puppy because it would always bark and poop in the office there. But Corrine would clean it up, and it was fantastic. And so Corrine and I now have a fantastic relationship, and we work really, really well together now. And she's done when you go to see the store tomorrow, you'll see, I mean, she keeps the place spotless. It always looks good. You never find any dust. Everything looks healthy. The plants look good. It's definitely, our retail store helps us sell jobs, right? When people come to the office and they see all the demo gardens and the stuff in the back, the stuff inside, you can see why we sell so many jobs.
It's more of an inspiration center than it is a traditional retail.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a challenge. I've never once told a human being ever to open up a retail store in the construction, fields. It's not something that you should do with a faint of heart, because it's a huge commitment, and it's always been a challenge for us. But I think this is their third year for Corrine. Yep.
I feel like she's been there longer.
No, it's 3 years, and she's finally got dialed in. Of course, she still gets befuddled by fish and plants. She's a retail person. That's not her expertise, and we've had plant people in there, we've had fish people in there, but they kind of come and go. But she's been consistent. Anthony, can you switch the next slide out? I want to go right to Collaboration Nation. We'll go up to that slide. This is probably the thing that I'm most excited about. Do you guys remember this Pondemonium from a few years ago? This is the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about on stage with Brian. It's the most exciting opportunity that we have. It involves all of you guys. And I'm going to start off with a little video here of how many people last year in here were in last October were in Utah for Utah-monium. Show of hands. That's a fun event. We're going to be doing it again in 2027 because it's on every other Pondemonium off year. So when Mark, who is your construction coordinator, was on the phone a week before, he got a call from Heber City, Utah, population 18,000. And somebody said that they wanted a rec pond with $1 million budget, and Mark said, well, the head guy, Brian's going to be out there for Utah-monium next week, and so during Utah-monium, Brian and Ed went on a consultation, and this is the continuation of that consultation. This was 2 weeks ago in Utah when Brian, Ralph, and Jack came out to finalize that deal. There they are. Already drinking, probably. Uh-oh. Mo, Curly, and Larry. What's up, losers? What up, buddy? Right.
What up, Holmes?
Thanks for getting us.
There we go. We're rocking.
Good name in the Tesla community. I'll do that.
To a $1 million sale. What's up, boys?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Ralph. Nice to meet you.
You don't know who that guy is, right?
Brian, how's your fishing project?
Let's go. Make a sale. So Brian told me I'm not allowed to be part of this consultation. So I'm having coffee and hanging out inside. Tough terrain guys have come. So they will be doing the prep work. I think they're talking about a basin down here, but what do I know? And you can see they had this whole palette to work with. 7-acre site, but of course we want to bring it up close and personal to all the viewing areas and the living area. Looking good.
Release.
There's my fish I caught and you cooked, huh, Brandon?
Yes.
Let's see this bad boy. Rainbow trout. Oh, look at that. How is it?
It's really good.
Really, Matt?
It's really pink, yeah, I think it is.
And then where did you meet Allison?
8 inches deep. Put that wetland right in here. The putting green. This would be more like this one. Would come up to the pond. The only time you can enjoy it is from here. I think it's kind of a fail. So I still want you to be able to this area as much as possible, even like where that pond is sitting.
Business is a team sport, collaboration nation, how all of these things work together. That is that project. That was Brian's drawing. Watching Brian, Jack, and Ralph was like poetry in motion, seeing those guys all with their strengths. I literally just drove them around, and then my Tesla drove them around. They didn't even tell me when they were leaving. They were just taking my car and leaving. And why don't you describe this project here, Brian?
So from your left, we'll have some big waterfalls. They'll come down just before a bridge. He's got about 7 acres, and so the property goes, like from that scale there, probably goes back 6 times further. And then you got the mountain as the backdrop to it. So we're big waterfalls with a cart path. The cart path's going to take him through kind of just an exploratory journey through the rest of his property. He's big into golf. So we've got some putting greens and chipping areas and stuff that are going to go off in the distance too. Waterfalls will continue to come down. As a pond builder, a pond designer, you get pretty excited when slopes are coming towards the house. And so we've got a really, really nice elevation change to play with coming
How big
towards
is it?
the house.
What is it?
Probably around 9 feet from the left all the way to the right over there. Well, the whole stream's about 185 feet. The only thing he's doing different is he's still on the fence about the size of a rec pond. That patio on the back right corner over there will be sunken. We haven't decided. It might be sunken with like a swim-up bar, so the water level would be like at your chest and looking across with a bridge that takes you over to get to it, or we'll set it just at grade because they'll save a whole lot of money if he puts it at grade. So, and a big 10,000 gallon tank at the bottom, some big pumps, and we're going to try to get it done in 4 weeks, but a pretty small crew on the first go around. And
Okay, so 4 weeks. And what's the selling price of the job?
right now it's at 1.3.5. So
1 month, a 1.350 job.
20 working days.
20 working days, how many guys average?
We'll have probably 8 guys out there.
You can't build a house that fast. Can't make any. This is art what we're creating, but it's poetry in motion. Watching these guys, the artists of the year, work at twice the speed of anybody else because they can all finish each other's sentences on there. Did you do this next picture? Is that your CAD? I don't know why it's in there.
No, I had Nick put that together for me, and just the idea of using AI to make things look more realistic, and it's pretty awesome.
You spent yesterday on the tour with Justin from Foxterra. Was he? I heard he told me at breakfast he was hitting you pretty hard about deploying what he does.
He said, Brian, if you gave me 3 days, you'd be blown away at how fast you'd be able to use this stuff. Now, I watched Justin, and Justin is a world-class designer. I don't know if he's in here or not, but he's
at the zoo.
He's crazy good. And I'm watching him with his mouth and he's going to put together a 3D rendering, and all 5 fingers are going at the same time to design a water feature. I was like, I'm never doing that. Like, that's never going to happen. I can hardly hold a colored pencil, right?
Plus, Brian likes the drawing. Don't let it, he enjoys sitting there. It's his therapy.
I don't really like doing the drawing.
Oh, yes, you do. You just have so many drawings to do.
I'll get lost in it, but it's very hard for me to get disciplined and say, all right, now I got to sit down and do it. But once I get into it, then I usually don't stop until it's done.
Tomorrow, we have our Pondex talks like TEDx, and we have it's going to be you, Jack and Ralph, Ed, Jay Duke, and Sean Frost talking about this stuff. I had in my keynote, because I have to keep it on time. It's the hardest thing for me to do is to try to say everything I need to say in an hour and a half. If you told me I had 8 hours, no problem. But when I have an hour and 30, it took me an hour and 32 minutes, and that's only because somebody put a tattoo on their butt and I added it to my slide. I would have been done in an hour and 30. But I had a whole thing about how you differentiate yourself and how you keep Optimus Prime robots from taking away your jobs by being your unique personality self. So I've got...
That's way better than the Founding Father one.
Yeah. That's why I had my Optimus robot, and then I got, of course, one for all the guys that I made, all the unique guys.
Jack.
Said, make them skinny. So those are the guys that you're gonna hear from tomorrow. And now go back to the slide with the numbers. And I want to talk about this because this is where it involves all of you guys. Not only are we going to have our biggest year in the local market in construction by far, I wanted you to show what they've already done this year with this new business model. We just did the Vancouver project. Brian was there for 5 days. Everybody else was there for 3 days, right, Brian? Mm-hmm. $300,000 backyard renovation that we're going to talk about later in this thing with the contest giveaway. So that was a $300,000 value job. Also took Brian 5 days on site, and then everybody from the Artists of the Year donating their time. Bloomington, Illinois is about 2.5 hours from here. That was a $500,000 job that they did in April. They did a $1.1 million job. Now this is amazing. In 17 days on site. I think they were like, you were there. You had to leave a couple days early, but I think
No, the Bloomington one I had to leave a couple days early.
Okay, so that was a 17-day total job for a $1.1 million job.
With those, that's that picture right there with those 9 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, those 9 guys, and then Brad, the customer in the middle there. It was like you guys have done a bunch of construction and stuff. It couldn't have been a more perfect site. We had 500 tons of stone sitting on a field just waiting to be picked from. We had multiple excavators, we had multiple skid steers, we had a telehandler, we had dingoes, we had everything we wanted, easy access almost all the way around the project. And really when we do these jobs, there's teams, and so you got these guys over here, you got these guys over here. You had Sean and Sean coming behind us just doing edge work and everything else. Alan's just an absolute beast and just slamming in stone steps and bridges really, really fast and cutting stuff. He's just crazy. But it's definitely a crazy team. And to do a $1.1 million job in 17 days is really insane. And when you finish the project, it looks more like a $3 million project than a $1.17 million project. And the customer actually said something. He said, Brian, if I knew it was going to turn out like this, I would have gladly paid $3 million for it. Do our customers ever have an idea of what we're going to build for them? They have no clue.
And they watch all our videos, and yeah.
He said something too. He said, Brian, obviously the art is top notch. Nobody in the world can do what you guys do, especially in the speed, but his whole business was based off of systems and procedures and efficiencies. He's like, your true art is the way you guys work together. He's like, I've never ever seen a group of guys work so seamlessly together and have so much fun doing something so physically demanding.
Because they're doing their art, right? They're making their art together, and they're learning from each other. Here, sit back a little bit, please. Just now you made me forget what I was going to say. Where's Sean Catroni? So Sean and Sean, you were talking about them. And Sean has always said, I want to go out with you on a job, Brian. And how many times? 6 times or something you asked him, and he said no. And
A few times as he just couldn't because of family and life and everything else, and he really wanted to come on the Utah job. We were full on the Utah job, and I said, I've got another $1 million project that I sold here locally in St. Charles in the spring. He's like, I'm in. He didn't even ask the date. He just said, I'm in.
But what happened was, since he had told you no, because he's running this business and dealing with issues and family, he's got a bunch of kids, you said, if you don't say yes to this one, I'm never asking you again. And he canceled everything in his schedule and got out there and worked his butt off, right? Said he's never worked so hard. Yeah. But was it good experience for you, Sean? So, because you learned a lot working with the Artist of the Year. And you're right up there as an Artist of the Year yourself, but you're always learning, and that's how they get better. These guys are continuing to push their art and continuing to do. So if you add up all of these travel jobs together, and then Heber City is the last one that's coming in, and the total volume of that is, did we not total this, guys? Yeah, it is. There we go. $4.5 million of additional revenue after $2.5 million in Chicago doing travel jobs. Yes. What's the big thing you notice about the last job on there? 10 days. It's not going to take 10 days. It's going to take a month. But Brian's going to be the only. He said, I can't do it. We're too busy in Chicago. I need to be there on these big jobs that I've got in Chicago this year. I said, you're building the pond in Heber, dude. That's good. I'm going to film that. I want to put the plants in there. I want a neighbor that has $1 million pond because I don't have a big pond in my yard. I want to go over there and swim. And yes, I will invite myself.
This is why he couldn't do the consultation.
Yep, they put me in it. But did I do a good job?
Because you were very quiet. It was still a little weird. You like going through his refrigerator and making yourself coffee and, you know.
I'm very good at that, making myself at home.
He invited the whole neighborhood to come on the consultation. There was 15 people in the consultation. It was all, yeah, but, you know, way to go.
30 years I've been dealing with this. But Brian said, I can't do it. And I said, you can't not do it. We're going to figure this out. And so Brian came up with a new plan. And on this one, because it's completely, he had to leave the family emergency for the Bloomington job, and you had to leave a couple days early on that one. And what did the guys do? They ran without him. Of course, it's not like Jack and Ralph aren't capable of doing these things, and Sean and Jay Duke and these guys that are going to be talking to you tomorrow, they can do this. So the new philosophy going forward on these collaboration jobs is Brian is the master designer, the master seller. Jack is the master getter done, high D dominant guy. Ralph is the master, detail guy, all of the things. They can finish each other's sentences. We'll bring in the skill sets. We'll bring in a Sean Catroni for doing the technical work. We'll bring in the tough terrain guys out there, the CACs out there to do the demo work and the prep work. We'll bring in, some other local CACs to do some of the plantings and whatnot. But we have an ability to do more jobs if we can get Brian's time less. So he's going to be there for 5 days next week, right? 23rd?
2 weeks. One more week.
Yep, in a week you'll be there for 5 days, and then he's going to come in for the last 5 days. He'll start them off for the first 5 days. Jack and Ralph and team will take over for the next 2 weeks, and then he'll come in for the last week. And there's 10 days on site, and then we'll split the profits of the job, and we could do this all day long till the cows come home. So whenever we do a job locally, we always get local CACs with rocks and equipment, and then of course the maintenance. Guess who's going to be doing the maintenance in Heber City? Blake. Perfect. Will Blake be on the build? I do not want Blake to do big jobs. I want Blake to do small projects and maintenance. And so this will be a perfect opportunity for Blake to take on another project. But do you think that only Ed and Brian and Sean and Jay Duke and are the guys and Ralph and are the guys that can do these projects, or can you guys work with other ones? Collaboration Nation. You could do this. And so reality is, if this is the business model that we're going forward with, we can do $10 million a year, and Brian could spend the same amount of time doing travel jobs if he starts the jobs off and finishes them, and the same with Ed. So we want to do more of this, and when you get big jobs that are over your head or $1 million type projects, and you get the chance, like Sean Catroni did, to work with these guys, you're going to learn a heck of a lot. So this is a huge future opportunity for us that we want to do, and we want to really blow this business model out. And right now it's $4.5 million, and I'd love to see $10 million next year with our guys traveling, working with you locally in local CACs all over. How's that sound? I'm excited about this, and this man isn't getting any younger. Ed's not getting any younger. This will save their back and allow them to work with more CACs. This is very similar to me going out and visiting people's houses when I get to go visit CACs and visit their work. I want Ed and Brian to spend as much time with you guys and bring in the travel teams to do bigger projects. So when you guys get in a bigger project, call us up, and we're going to try to figure it out. Now we're going to see how this goes with Heber City. Now let me ask you a question. Do you think Brian, who designed this pond, would like to be there for 30 days? Absolutely, but he's also got a family and graduation parties and 2 other kids and a wife. Okay, so how do we balance this? And that's why it's all about balance. But this business model that they're going to be talking about tomorrow in the PondX talks, those guys, we want you guys to replicate this model, working with each other. This is where you network and everything else with each other. So we're definitely wanting to encourage more of this and then post about our results on that.
Awesome. For me, it's just, I love the game of trying to figure out how much money we can make in the local market. And if I were to pull our crew, Jack and Andrew and Gavin and the rest of the team together, we could build that project. It would take us all summer to do it. Not that they're not great guys, they just don't have the skill sets. You know, they've got, when I bring Jack, Alan, and Ralph together, I mean, there's 60 years of experience, quick. And everybody just finishes each other's sentences. We've got 9 years of experience together with those other guys.
Because we're all singing the same tune, folks. When you saw that build that I posted with all of those pipes, there was a lot of chiefs and no Indians, and all the chiefs wanted to do it their way. And everybody was doing it differently. No wonder they got a hodgepodge of a pond that the homeowners are stuck with now, trying to get the pumps to work and the filters to balance, when they could have put an ecosystem in. Everybody knows how to build an intake bay. Everybody knows how to put an ecosystem in. Everybody has their own style with setting rocks, and they kind of pair off on the jobs. You said Sean and Sean were like the edge whisperers.
Oh, it was fascinating. And just give them a little guidance. Here's what we're looking for. I need some landslides done in through here. I need some edges done in here. Turn this into a soil plant pocket. They're like, we got you. And you'd see them 3 hours later, and they'd have everything finished, and I'd come back down the hill to look at it, and I'm like, yeah, looks great. And they do the lights, because I hate doing lights. And
although they'll be better now with the in-light system.
I'll still hate doing them. Just but yeah. And so what I was getting at is you're kind of double dipping. So if you can finish a $1.5 million project in 17 days and not take up the entire summer, I can have the guys still building local market ponds here, and I can be helping them build the local market ponds, and then you're getting that extra $4.5 million. So when the local market's almost going to do $6 million this year, it's kind of crazy.
You ready for the first question?
No.
Are you going to read the Pond Guys book?
I don't need to read the Pond Guys book because you put it on audio.
So you're going to listen.
And I'll probably have heard every one of those stories 300 more times. Good job, though. Memoir before you retire.
You got 4 years, buddy. All right, here's one. What are some of the most important design principles you follow, not just for water features, but for patios, plants that surround the water feature?
Great question. My design, it's not philosophies or anything, but my style is to create mystery. I want people to discover as they move through a property, and bridges and staircases, strategic landscape to hide certain things and make people wonder what's around the next corner. What's around the next corner is what I'm always focused on. I also, when sitting down with a customer, the psychology of a design is really important, and how are they going to use the space? How big is the family? Do they have pets? Do they have children? How often do they entertain? You don't want to put in a patio, a fire pit for 18 people if they never entertain, and it's just their immediate family. You want to do a smaller fire pit for 6 people. My wife wanted a giant patio in her backyard because she has a giant family, 60-some people every Christmas. And I'm like, I'm not building a patio for once a year. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But the psychology of it, a little bit of mystery. I will tell you this. You guys want to sell a job? Say the word bridge. If you can put a bridge into your designs, whether it's a pondless waterfall, whether it's a pond, watch the customer's face change. Every single time I say the word bridge in a design, the customer says, "Are you really? You could figure out a bridge in this?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes, let's put a bridge in." So yeah.
So that's a tip for all you, like literally, you got a guy that sold more ponds than anybody else in the world, and if he says this, that's a pretty valuable tip about selling a job. Bridges, bridges, bridges. When do our bridges come out? I don't even know. Dave? You know?
Next year.
Next year, all right. This is very good, and it's kind of awkwardly phrased, Brian, but this is a big challenge for you. And it was, what has been your biggest efficiency that you implemented this season, and how are you keeping the crews on task? And this is, you can expand on this a little bit, because this is a challenge for a young crew and a guy who's selling big jobs, and then he's out of state, you know, doing another big job.
You want to be efficient, collaborate. Whether it's locally, whether it's a travel job, just collaborate. Bring in people with skill sets. And like I said, our guys are fantastic. We're doing a $300,000 project we're working on right now, and it'll be
your favorite job ever.
It'll be one of my favorite jobs of all time.
Carlo loves it.
Yeah.
Every time I'm talking, oh, this is my favorite job I'm ever on. The next week, this is my favorite job I'm ever on. You know, next month, everyone's a favorite. This guy was pretty cool. He's a submarine captain in the Navy, nuclear submarine.
He was in charge of pushing the button, so he was definitely up there. But we'll get that project done in just over 20. It'll probably be like 25 days because of the rain. But that's a project. If I could have gone back in time, probably priced a little higher, and brought people in to help collaborate and got that thing done in half the amount of time, which would have been fantastic. Because then I could have snuck in more projects this year. We have $1 million some sold for next year already. I would have loved to try to figure out how to get some of that in this year to open up the schedule a little bit more for next year. So collaborate is definitely the most efficient way to build ponds, and you guys have a room full of people that you can work with. There's so much crazy talent in this room, and what I love about collaborating too is you learn different techniques. Ralph has different techniques than I have. Alan has different techniques. Alan motivates the shit out of me. The guy just doesn't stop, and I feel guilty if I don't keep up with Alan. So I'm like, all right, I guess there's no water today, but with our local crew, just be patient, right? Hire people for attitude, right? Our crew right now has the best attitude, and we have so much fun out there. Our crew gets compliments all the time from our customers, and if you can get a crew that's constantly being complimented by the customer, you win. The efficiency stuff will come. Ed and I had the opportunity when I started working for Aquascape to build 130 ponds my first season.
Small.
They're all small. Everything was 11 by 16 or smaller. We'd build a pond on Monday, then we'd build another pond on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Rinse, repeat. 20 products, 20 steps. And we got crazy efficient because every single day was the exact same thing. We knew at 10:15 exactly what was supposed to be happening. We knew at 1:30, if we're not at this point, maybe we work a little faster, a little harder because we need to be building waterfalls by 2:30. It was just rinse and repeat. And so we had an opportunity that will probably never, ever happen again. I would love to sell 130 ponds in a season, but we're not finding small ponds.
Brian, there's a girl I like, but she doesn't even know I exist. What should I do?
You should collaborate.
What is your best advice for us that want to get better designing ponds?
Best advice I can get you for designing ponds, go on pond tours. Look at the past artists of the year. Just study, study, study. You take Billy Harmon, right? Now here's a guy who's kind of a savant. You take Diego and Dan from up in Canada there. Savants too, right? Probably the two fastest
The Fuentes
people.
brothers.
The Fuentes brothers. They put themselves out there. Billy showed up at the gates to a project. Never have built a pond before with us. And Jack and I are down in Texas, and he's sitting there at the gate, and he's like, listen, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll just move 5-gallon buckets for 3 days if that's what you need me to do. And that's what we had him do, right? He just moved 5-gallon buckets. And he never complained. You could tell he was pissed, but he never said a thing. But you watched him just observing and observing and observing. And at lunch, he asked questions. And after the job, when we sit and have a couple beers, he wasn't drinking. He was walking around just studying the rock placement and the pathways and the bridges and the design. Now the guy, after doing a few collaboration projects with us, just sold his largest project at $1.3 million or something, $1.5 million.
And is this the one that you sent Kevin to?
Yes.
So this is fun. So I don't even know how Kevin showed up at our door or whatever, but.
It was a lot like Billy. He was just sitting there, a little lost puppy.
So a guy from Michigan, been working for a couple weeks, wanting to learn the business. And then you said, you're talking to Billy, I think in Vancouver, over at the Build, and you said, I think he was needing help. So you sent Kevin down there, right?
Yeah, we were good, and Kevin is a sponge and wants to learn, and he puts himself out there, and he's just part of the job, you know, and even when like Sean came out to help us in Missouri, Sean's been building ponds for a long time. It just upped his confidence and his skill level, seeing all of those people do the different things. You just pick up little things here and there. And I need to see it in order to learn it. I can't read books. I can read. I don't think I listen to everything on audio, but I need to see it to learn it. So go on pond tours, study these guys, watch their channels, subscribe to their channels, and just pay attention. All the stuff's out there. When Ed and I started, we didn't have any of that. We were learning from you. I was like, oh my God.
How do you identify who is an up-and-coming leader within your existing crew?
How do you identify who's an up-and-coming leader? It's attitude. It's just attitude. The guy that says, what time are we going to finish today, over and over and over again, is probably not going to be the guy that's going to be leading a team in the near future. A guy that continues to work when you're not working. You pay attention to stuff like that. Just attitude.
A lot of people were on the pond tour yesterday, but a kid came up to me at the break and said, I'm here as a first-timer. I'm working for, and he was working for a long-time CAC that I know is a pretty rough guy. Great work, but, old school. And this guy, how do I succeed with working with this guy? And I go, hustle. Just hustle your ass off. Never sit still. Always move. If you're not busy, just try to be busy. Talk about pictures.
Pictures.
Working interviews and photography.
Oh.
This is what Brian wants me to do because he never remembers anything we talk about, but he says, just prompt me and then I'll remember.
So we do working interviews. Nobody can come work on our construction crew without doing a working interview. And you get paid. And the rule with the working interview is you have to start and finish a job. Because what's the most important part of a job? The end of the project, plugging it in. Yes? That's why we do it. That's why everybody in this room builds water features, because it's so rewarding to plug in the pump and see what you've spent the last day, 3 days, 17 days creating. It's my favorite part, right? And then watching the customer's reaction, watching your employees' reaction is really important. And so we had built a project last year. The guy was on a 5-day working interview with us. It was a gorgeous pond. I actually took my bus, went on the pond tour to go see that pond. And the kid was pretty soft. and it was hot. You know, poor Jack, we had to put him under a tree for a little bit because he passed out, and so it was hot. And he was trying to hang in there, but really couldn't. And I didn't think much of it because of the heat, but he didn't do something at the end of the project. When we turn on the pump, what do most of your employees do? They're proud of it, right? They take out their camera and they start taking photos because they want to share it with their parents. They want to share it with their family, their girlfriends, aunts and uncles, neighbors, that kind of stuff. This kid didn't pull out his phone. And he sat over in the corner of the house. Is he gonna work for us? It said a lot about him. How could you just spend 5 days working harder than he's probably ever worked in his life and not take a picture of what we created? Yeah.
Not for us, right? Just a little simple thing like that tells you a lot about somebody. What are some of the red or green flags you consider when interacting with a potential customer?
This is ironic because I had a consultation 2 days ago, I think 2 or 3 days ago, and I was on time. I was a minute early. He's sitting on the front porch. He's rocking. I pull in the driveway and he did this to see if I was on time. Thank God I was on time, right? And he started walking towards me. I knew we weren't going to go inside the house. He was going to meet me at the driveway and we were going to probably walk around the back. But he was carrying 4 sheets of paper, and 2 of them were for me and 2 of them were for him. And he had written all the things that he liked and didn't like about water features that we had built on pond tours, and exact things that he wanted to accomplish, which I kind of liked, but it said a lot about that guy, right? And so some big red flags went off for me, and he knew he wanted the stream to come right down the center of his yard. I hate the idea of it coming right down the center of the yard. I think it should be pushed to the right. I think it should twist and turn a little bit. They really want to create a savanna or some sort of thing, and I said that has nothing to do with me. That's how you landscape it afterwards. And so you savanna it up if you want, but I don't know if we'll be a good fit or not. And don't, like, when your hair on the back of your neck stands up, your spidey senses kind of go off with customers. You feel it. Like there's a very, very distinct feeling. And to me, I know we can deliver an extraordinarily nice project for them, but they're probably going to be a pain in the ass for quite a while. So we kind of stopped the consultation. Thank God it was pouring rain. I said, listen, I think this is what you guys need to do. Why don't we set up a second consultation? You guys go on the pond tour this weekend. These are the 4 ponds I want you to go really focus on and rewrite your list of things, and we'll meet next week. And so we'll see if their demeanor has changed at all. But if it hasn't, I'm pretty confident just to walk away from it and just saying, hey, we're not a good fit for you. Every single time you try to meet somebody else's expectations and they're not yours, you get burned. You just get burned, and I feel like we're going to get burned on this one.
Right. Can you talk about how us in cold weather areas can best keep outdoor staff and not have to replace them every few years because they can't take the layoffs anymore? I can answer this.
Go ahead.
Why lay them off? Charge enough for the time that you do work to offset the time that you're not working. We don't lay off our staff. In fact, we hire a lot of staff in the winter and get them going. Works out half the time it doesn't, but we charge enough to keep people year round. So that's the answer for that person who asked that question, is we raise your prices and pay your people. And we tell that to people when they're first of all, what are we at per man hour right now?
We charge $200 per man hour.
$200 per man hour. And how often do you get pushback from a consumer when you show them that we're $200 a man hour for a laborer?
Do you know, I think I have more shock on the $200 a man hour than the customers do. Customers have never, ever said anything. When I slide the price across, it says $10,000 a day in labor, and I still look at that like, holy shit, we're charging 10 grand a day in just labor. Things have changed quite a bit, because when I first started working, we were at like we were about $2,000 a day in labor back in '95. But we're good, we're efficient, we're in demand, and the $200 is still very, very comparable to other trades out there. You go talk to a mechanic, a plumber, an electrician, they're right there. Just have the courage to ask for it.
How do you structure payments on $1 million project? Now, this would be a good one for Colleen, because she has grave concerns with contractors who might do, $500,000 a year selling $1 million job. But how do we do it?
We do 30, 40, 30. So 30% down, 40% before we start, so we get 70% before we really started, and then the last 30 when we finish.
So you get 70% before you break ground. Mm-hmm. Pretty good. Yeah. Has your style changed in recent years?
Your style doesn't change, your style evolves, right? You're constantly getting better and better and better. I took some people to go see my pond yesterday. They said it was the best pond on the tour. I want nothing more than to rip that whole pond out and start over. Because you live with it for so long, and after 17 years, you've gotten better than you did when you built that. And I love the rec pond in the Aqua Gardens, that formal rec pond. I just think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Bigger waterfalls, just different designs, sunken patios, create different elevations. And so yes, it's not changed, just us evolving and getting better and better. Wait to see me, 30 more years.
On days that you get rained out, what is the best way to make up lost time? Do you work overtime? Do you push other builds back?
We work overtime all the time. Every single week. It's a minimum of a 55-hour week. So there's probably 15 overtime hours per guy on there, but it's because we have a short season. We have to go. When we didn't work the overtime, how many days did we lose? 37 days. If you got the work, you're going. We don't work Saturdays. We never work Saturdays. We never work Sundays. We need a time to rebuild our bodies. It's exhausting, right? We do physical work all day long. And so Saturdays and Sundays, we don't try to make up for rain days. We do, like at the beginning of the year, when we schedule out our entire year, we figure out how many working days we have between April 1st and Thanksgiving. And we put in some rain days, and we put in the holidays, and we always give our guys off. We give them a 4-day weekend on 4th of July. So they can choose if they want Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But they all vote on what they want because that 4-day weekend is really nice just to kind of regroup and do some family vacations. Yeah.
Let's move on here for the last 20 minutes. Talk a little bit about, let's see where this picks up. Let's talk about your and Ed's class, February 2nd through the 5th, Advanced Design, Sales, and Construction.
Do you honestly think I've prepared?
So, will he be prepared for that? Yes, he does a fantastic job in his seminars. How many people in here have been to the advanced seminars by Brian and Ed before? Look at that. Okay, so the next one's coming up February 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Which is the week before we're doing the rest of the stuff. So if you wanted to end on a Friday night and start on a Sunday night, you can do that. Here's the Academy season. If you want to grab your phones out, this is one of the mistakes we made last year with Pondemonium Online. We didn't advertise the Academy, so we're advertising them now. There's all of the academies. Some of these academies you created, Brian, if you want to talk about them. In-field construction training, hands-on.
The in-field construction training is great. It's just in the sandbox and just little, it's great for the new guys, even efficient ways of digging. Like you wouldn't believe when we do our working interviews, how guys will do this on the shovel, right? They go like this, or they're trying to push it into the soil. Like just teaching guys how to dig efficiently makes a world of difference. Edge techniques, waterfall techniques, foaming, bib lining, all of that kind of stuff is in there. So the infield construction is great. The water feature design estimating, for a bunch of you guys, it's probably really good just as a refresher. I'm constantly getting better and better at the estimating and the design and the sales. Every time I go on a consultation, I get that much better. You just keep learning, you deal with different people's different challenges. So we'll get into that. Obviously, Mark Marshall. I got to sit down with Mark Marshall just one-on-one for about an hour and a half. And I was telling Mark on our bus yesterday, I was like, you did something, and I don't know if Greg told you this is how you motivate me, but he said, you can't do this. And when I'm told I can't do something, it pisses me off. And I can be better than Mark Marshall. I really could.
With creating content.
With creating content. But he told me I couldn't, and it really pissed me off. So.
Good.
So having an hour with Mark Marshall one-on-one was pretty awesome. I would strongly recommend going to that class if you've got 2 days of Mark Marshall and being able to ask questions. The guy, like Greg has said, he's a savant. But he looks at that like we look at building ponds.
Yep.
He has no problem putting in 70 hours a week working on his channel. That's his job, and he is hyper focused on it. I don't need to be hyper focused on it because my salary doesn't come from content. But if I could be a quarter focused as he is, our channel would be so much better than it is.
This is all you, baby. I'm very proud of this.
Somebody's life is about to get so much more relaxing. That's right, after over 4,000 different entries, we are about to choose the winner for this year's sweepstakes.
Unbelievable the amount of work that you put into this, and we really just wanted to say thank you for all of the commenting, the like, the subscribing, the sharing, and everything you did. All the past artists of the year voted you into the top 3. Here's they wrote down some of these other questions.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if they matter. It was like, what's your favorite food? What size shoe do you wear? When did you and your wife first go? Where did you guys meet? But at this point, you know what I think? I think you're the winner, buddy. Congratulations. You win.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. None of these questions really mattered. You were the finalist. You can tell your wife who's at work. I would have loved her to be on the phone with us, but let the dogs know. Let the firefighter family know. Again, congratulations, and really thanks for everything you do for Team Aquascape and all of the other past artists of the year.
How about that? That was Brian's idea to do the backyard makeover giveaway. Have you guys seen Chris? Are you in here? Is Chris in here? Yes? Stand up. Come up here. Come up here. Yeah. I'd invite your wife, but she said she does not want to do this. So where did this idea come from for you, Brian? Because I had nothing to do with this.
The backyard makeover was actually really was inspired by Mark Marshall. So Mark Marshall, all of his content he creates is doing backyard makeovers on a much smaller level than what we did for Chris. But he's generating a whole lot of revenue just going out and surprising people in their backyard. And I know every year Greg wants to do an Artist of the Year build. So he takes the past Artist of the Year and wants to do...
The first one we did was that garden answer in the backyard, which is awesome.
And then we did your sons and I didn't want Greg to give any more ponds to Shaq because he can afford it 10 times over. And
it is actually kind of funny because the other guy, Chris was my second vote. We all got to vote on this. And the other guy that did all of the rules correctly, commented on everybody's videos, still comments on everybody's videos. But Brian's like, yeah, he can afford it. And this is a fireman. We're going to give it to the fireman that does rescue dogs. And all the artists of the year got to vote. So, you won. And what was it like having the guys up there? Because I know you were in the hole with them. And what's Pondemonium been like for you?
Yeah, speechless. I'm not a public speaker.
Yeah, don't ever say that.
Yeah.
Because you're public speaking right now.
Yeah, I know. Just like I said in the videos, unreal. Just unreal. It gets tossed around all the time and it's very, surreal. Yeah. Watching all you guys for years and years and years and then
Did you know what to expect when they showed up? Because you've watched all the videos.
I thought I knew.
What did you learn, or what did you experience?
Haven't really reflected on that. I was just trying to hustle. Keep up with them.
Chris was absolutely amazing. If we were swinging picks, he was swinging picks. If we were moving boulders, he was moving boulders. If we were cleaning up, he was cleaning up. At 3 o'clock, you'd see him disappear because he needed to go get beer, right? And he'd have coolers full. And he heard that Greg liked cider, so he went and bought all kinds of cider.
And I drank cider and fell asleep on his couch, and now I can't drink cider tomorrow night.
What'd you think of our cider?
It was an amazing thing, and so I think where I really wanted to do with the backyard makeover, and I've told Chris this before, is just give back to a profession that's given us so much, right? And so to give it to somebody like Chris felt truly amazing to me, and your reaction was priceless.
Speaking of your reaction,
This is the moment Chris and Michelle saw their dream backyard for the first time. But just 3 days earlier, it looked like this. Chris and Michelle have supported Aquascape and all of the Artists of the Year. So when they were selected for our backyard makeover, we knew we wanted to create something truly special for them. Not just a pond, a place where they could spend time together and make memories with people they love. To make that happen, certified Aquascape contractors from across the country came together and donated their time, talent, and experience. These are some of the best pond builders in the world, and over a course of 3 days, everyone worked side by side to completely transform this ordinary backyard. There was a lot of digging, a lot of heavy lifting, and probably a little more dust than anyone expected, but everybody just jumped in and did whatever needed to be done. I've been building ponds for more than 30 years, and I still feel incredibly fortunate that this is what I get to do. Being able to give a backyard valued at $300,000 to a family that has supported us for so many years is something I'll never forget. And we would absolutely love to do it again. That's why we are officially launching the next Aquascape Backyard Makeover Contest. One family, maybe a business, maybe a zoo, maybe even a school will have the opportunity to receive a complete backyard transformation created by Aquascape and our incredible network of certified Aquascape contractors. Enter using the information in the description and share it with your friends and family. We gave Chris and Michelle the backyard they had always dreamed about. Now we're looking for the next family whose story we can help change.
Good video. How about a hand for Chris?
Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thanks, bud.
Let's go back to that slide. Grab your phones and scan that to share that video on your socials. Does anybody know how many people applied with Brian's marketing contest? 4,900 entries. Now it's my marketing contest. I'm taking this off of Brian's plate. Guess how many I want to see enter this contest? 49,000. So can we get to 50,000 people that can get a $250,000 makeover for all they have to do is subscribe to the Artists of the Year channels, follow and comment, and then submit a video? We're going to be cutting up those videos. We're going to do marketing. Remember when I said I wanted the tribe to all sing in tune? Every one of you, I would love to see this post. Would you, if one of your customers, one of your churches, one of your schools in your area could win this, you would be part of this build that we would go out there and build this with and promote living the Aquascape lifestyle, and the only thing you have to do is share it on social media. Well, who's going to share this on social media for me? 49,000 entries. Let's see if we can get there. When did we start this contest last year? We didn't start it this year. We started it the same year. We're starting this contest in a year in advance of when we're actually going to do it. So please scan that. We're going to be posting more stuff on the we're going to be making more videos like that. But let's grow the CAC tribe. Let's talk about certified Aquascape contractors. Let's talk about ponds done right, customer serve right. Let's all sing in unison, and let's grow the pie for everybody, because that work, which by the way, I didn't pay a single one of those Artists of the Year to come up there. They all flew up there on their own dime. I bought the beer. Okay, we put them up in the hotels, but they got themselves there and they contributed, and they're helping everybody in here grow because of stuff like this that they're doing. One hand washes the other. So Brian did this without any involvement from me. He got inspired by the builds that we had done for together at Garden Answer, what we had done for my son. And he said, let's do this for someone else, a deserving family. And we're going to pick deserving families too. And by the way, he was my second choice. The first choice was a deserving guy. There was 10 people that were all deserving. I want to have hundreds of people that are deserving and put it out there and let you guys vote on it about where we're going to go. But this is a cool contest. Who else is doing stuff like this in this industry? Is any other manufacturer, could they even do this? They manufacture a widget. They don't build water features. You guys build water features. I want to leverage the power of the tribe, not just for construction, but for promoting and marketing. We'll create the content. Will you guys share it? Not loud enough. Will you guys share it? Yes, and I'll share your stuff, and I comment on your stuff. One hand washes the other. So good job, Brian, with that. Any final thoughts or anything else that you want to add with this, or should I ask a few more questions?
It was a lot of fun, and the whole idea of it was to really grow the pie, to really get everybody to get more followers, more subscribers, and it happens with little things like Chris and Michelle needed more votes, more points, and so they did something that we needed to actually go videotape, but they went to the dog park. They have these massive dogs.
They do dog rescues.
Yeah, and so they took their dog to the dog park, and they said every time they take their dog to the dog park, people want to come up and pet the dog. And so they had made a poster and said, free pets if you help us win this contest. And so everybody that came, imagine people at the dog park. When we say we build ponds, do people know what we're talking about? They still think it's a hole in the ground and it's a muddy water. So now all these people at the dog park got exposed to what we all do for a living. Now imagine if a school does that, if a hospital does that, if a business does that, to try to, I think the 50,000 some people is scratching the surface. I'd love to see it at 1 million some people. Can you imagine how good that would be if 1 million more people understood what ponds actually are? It would be fantastic for us.
For the tribe, for growing the tribe. So it's stuff like this that we put together, but we need to get everybody singing in tune. And great job on the contest. Great job for the best year ever. Talk a little bit about our team. You said they had the best attitude. Why don't we just kind of wrap up with talking about how you're getting the team to the next level, because Jack has been a challenge for you.
Jack's not a challenge for me. It's really.
So Brian has changed his designs because Jack is a master at granite rock. But when it comes to limestone, he's not. So Brian has had to change his design as a designer if he's not going to be on site. Little things like this so that he can get. And by the way, when you've been here for 6 years, he's in his 7th season, but you're doing $1 million jobs, it's tough. So when Brian can leave town and have Jack do a granite job, it's a lot easier than when he leaves job and has a. So you've changed your designs.
I told Greg and Colleen a few years ago the biggest challenge in our local market is 100% me. It's not Jack, it's not Andrew, it's not any of the other guys, it's 100% me. Because when I go out on a design consultation, I design water features that inspire me and the technicality that I can build stuff at, not a guy that's only been with us for 5 years. And so the easiest way to fix that would actually be to send Jack out doing consultations. Because if Jack went out on consultations, what kind of ponds would Jack design? Jobs that he could do, but then I'd be out of a job, so we're not doing that. But no, so I switched the way I design water features. I really try to push granite boulder water features because Jack loves working with granite boulders. The guys love working with granite boulders. To me, granite boulders are so much harder. The round rock is so much harder to work with.
That's what Jack built when he was a kid.
Big machine-sized boulders, but that's what they're comfortable doing. So we're selling a lot of granite boulder jobs. The job we're on right now, super technical, lots of stuff going on, giant machines, lots of moss rock. It'd be a harder job for those guys to build efficiently. So when I'm gone and I'm in Utah, Jack's building granite boulder jobs.
You've changed modified your designs to fit our crew. Yesterday, Luke, the guy that was up here this morning, the 20-year-old, he said, I want to be in your class on build a business that operates. I go, no, go look at ponds, go on the pond tour. Blake, my son, wanted to be in, I go, no, go look at ponds, study ponds. You need to learn this art. Noah Herman, are you in here? Come here. So Noah reached out to me and said his last day at his job is going to be Friday. Can he come to Pondemonium? Noah is, Noah, you started with, I met you freshman year of high school when you joined the cross-country team, right?
Yep.
So yesterday, even though you wanted to be in the seminar, how was it going out and visiting? First of all, what are you doing now that you got your master's degree now? What do you have?
Well, a lot of you guys have heard a little bit of my story. I'm tabling master stuff. I'm trying to be a CAC full-time. We talked.
Okay, so you were in school you were thinking about getting your master's, but now you're going to be a pond builder.
Yep, I had master's applications out. I didn't put out that many. Didn't get any. I was working for a retention pond management company, which sucked. I did that to push myself further towards fisheries biology type stuff, larger scale management. Those companies, that whole industry is backwards.
Chemicals.
Yeah, it's all backwards. This company scaled to that size is how all those industries should transition. And it took me a little while to realize that. Well, no, I didn't. I knew it the whole time, and that's why I hated working there. But
so you quit Friday. Friday was your last day, 2 weeks.
Friday was my last day. I said I'm going to come to Pondemonium unemployed, and I'll bounce between contractors till I can do it myself. Greg.
So this is your time to pitch. So what are you looking to do until next year?
Well, you invited me back to construction at the headquarters to finish out the rest of the season till I can. I'm planning on moving to Nashville, try to establish myself there.
You worked for Derek Johnson down there, right?
I did. For a college summer, I spent 3 months working for Derek Johnson. He's running a great operation down there. I loved working with Matt on his maintenance department. His employees he's pushing his guys in the right direction. He's giving them more initiative and more responsibility. And Derek is a guy that I would work for him again as an employee if I didn't want to pursue being a CAC.
That's a pretty good pitch.
Yep. Yep.
I think he should work for a few years for a few CACs, and eventually, if it works, start your own business. But you know what? Not everybody, and I don't know about Noah. Not everybody is wired to have their own business, and that's okay. Because at the end of the day, what you need to do is find the right seat on the bus for you. And we'll wrap up with this last story about Chris Z.
Chris came to me a couple years ago.
4-year-long teammate.
And he said, Brian, I really think I want to do this myself. So I think I want to start my own business. I think I want to do hardscape. I want to do landscape. Of course, I want to do water features. And I said, Chris, thank you so much for coming to me and talking to me about it. I am going to make sure you're successful at doing that. But don't just quit right away. Let's start training you now to understand the business of it. What's harder, the business or the building? The business is so much harder. And if you can't have the same amount of passion that you have for building waterfalls and ponds into the business side, are you going to be successful? And so I gave Chris...
So for anybody in here who is not self-employed, that's thinking about self-employed, don't do it before you read the book, The E-Myth, which stands for The Entrepreneur Myth by Michael Gerber. How many people have read The E-Myth in here? And they have The E-Myth for contractors, but it basically says just because you can do something doesn't mean you should be doing something, because there's a lot more doing something the business than just actually building the ponds. Go ahead.
Read that book.
So
Yes.
Chris went to 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week with us a couple years ago, so he could focus on trying to get customers and clients and that kind of stuff, and build different features and patios, so on and so on. And I gave Chris some homework assignments. I said, listen, I've talked to Colleen and Beth, and you need to sit down with Colleen and Beth once a month, talk about financials, talk about your business strategy, talk about these different types of things. I really want you to understand how to estimate projects. So when you're here for three days out of the week, let's go over numbers and those types of things. Guess what Chris never did? He never talked to Beth and Colleen. We never really went over numbers. And the 2 days a week he was trying to work on his business, he really wasn't making the money. And so Chris, after that year, said, you know what, I'm just going to commit to you guys 5 days a week. And when Chris started committing to us 5 days a week, we started committing more to him. And now Chris is growing pretty fast with our construction team. And Chris is definitely Jack's right-hand man out there.
95% of the people would have just quit and tried to do it for themselves and then lost faith and then left the industry and then come back 11 years later and join the crew or whatever else. Who knows if you'd ever see him again. But 90% of businesses fail. True or false? What's the number one failed business in the entire world? Restaurants, followed by contracting. Okay, it's not easy, which is why books like The E-Myth exist. Brian, you are succeeding beyond our wildest dreams this year. You have an exciting future with these collaboration jobs that you're doing. You've kicked off a fantastic contest with the backyard makeovers. I think Brian deserves a hand.
Hey.